The morning air was cool and crisp on the quiet suburban street of Ridgeview, but something felt off. Birds chirped, and the usual hum of neighborhood activity began to stir as residents went about their daily routines. But in one particular house, an unsettling silence hung heavy. Inside the modest, two-story home, the scene was one of disturbing stillness. The smell of stale coffee clung to the air, mingling with a faint scent of something darker, something more sinister. The house was eerily quiet, no children's laughter echoing through the hallways, no sounds of morning activity. Instead, there was a thick sense of dread in the very air, one that no one could quite explain. When a neighbor noticed the children's bicycles in the front yard, untouched and forgotten, the first instinct was to check on them. The call to the police came shortly after. By the time they arrived, it was too late. The police entered the home cautiously, their eyes scanning the dim, unkempt interior. What they found was unimaginable. 5 children, all under the age of 12, lying motionless in their beds. No visible signs of injury, no marks, just stillness. The mother, 34-year-old Patricia Blackwell, was nowhere to be found. Before we dive deeper into this chilling investigation, I just want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. We post true crime, suspense-filled stories every day, and each case is more shocking than the last. If you're new to the channel, be sure to catch up with our previous videos to immerse yourself fully in these gripping tales. Now, let's jump right back into the story. Ridgeview was a middle-class neighborhood tucked away on the outskirts of a bustling city. Known for its quiet charm and family-friendly atmosphere, it was a type of place where people rarely locked their doors, where everyone knew everyone. Patricia Blackwell had lived there for nearly a decade, raising her 5 children alone after her tumultuous divorce 5 years ago. Her children, Samantha, 12, Caleb, 9, Lily, 7, Ethan, 5, and little Emily, 3, were well-liked by neighbors. They were known for their bright smiles, the sounds of their laughter filling the street as they played in the yard. Patricia, while somewhat reserved, was always polite. She was known to keep to herself but maintained a decent rapport with others. But what was lurking beneath the surface of the seemingly perfect family? How had it all gone so wrong? A couple of weeks before the incident, Patricia had started acting strangely. She seemed more withdrawn than usual, often missing her routine visits to the grocery store or the library with her children. Her friends began to notice she was neglecting the kids more frequently, spending long hours locked in her bedroom and barely interacting with them. Her closest friend, Heather, described Patricia as always on edge. She said she was overwhelmed, tired, that everything was getting to be too much, but she wouldn't really open up beyond that. Heather also recalled a phone conversation in which Patricia mentioned wanting to make it all stop. Heather thought she was referring to her financial struggles or her ongoing battles with her ex-husband. Little did she know, this comment would later take on a much darker meaning. Around the same time, the family's financial situation took a sharp turn for the worse. Patricia had been struggling with bills, accumulating debt, and recently, she had been receiving notices threatening foreclosure on her home. Yet, despite these mounting pressures, no one had expected this level of tragedy. The moment the officers entered the home, they were immediately struck by the strange stillness that filled the air. It wasn't just the silence of the absent children's laughter, it was a kind of suffocating, unnatural quiet. The children's rooms were meticulously neat. Samantha, the oldest, was lying in bed clutching a stuffed animal. Caleb was positioned in a similar manner, as if asleep. Lily, Ethan, and Emily were all tucked in under their blankets. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of violence. But the children's faces, pale, still, betrayed something far more sinister. The officers immediately began the grim process of checking for signs of life, but it was clear. They were all gone. There was no blood, no visible wounds, no drugs, only a strange, almost hypnotic calm in the air. As the investigation began, it became clear that Patricia had meticulously planned everything. Every detail had been considered. There was no immediate panic or chaos. The children had been put to bed as if it was any other night. It was as if they had simply fallen asleep and never woke up. The only thing missing was Patricia herself. Detective Sarah Miller was assigned to the case. As she stood in the doorway of Patricia's home, Staring at the lifeless children, her mind raced. How could someone do this? What had driven Patricia, a mother who appeared to love her children, to take such a horrific step? The first priority was to gather evidence. The house was searched top to bottom, but no clear explanation emerged. The children had no visible wounds. Patricia's personal belongings, clothing, her phone, her purse, were all accounted for, but Patricia was nowhere to be found. After hours of searching, the breakthrough came from a seemingly insignificant detail. A set of handwritten notes were found in Patricia's bedroom, scrawled hastily on the back of a grocery list. The notes contained fragments of sentences, but one stood out. "I'm sorry, but they'll be better off without me. I can't protect them anymore. They'll be happy in the end." As the days passed, Detective Miller turned her attention to Patricia's ex-husband, Greg Blackwell. They had separated after a tumultuous marriage, but Greg had always maintained a decent relationship with their children. However, he had not seen Patricia or the kids in a week, and his alibi for the night of the deaths was shaky at best. The investigation into Greg revealed a more complex picture. He had been struggling with his own set of personal issues, including a gambling problem that had drained his finances. But when questioned about Patricia's emotional state, Greg seemed strangely disconnected. He did not seem overly concerned about the welfare of his children, and his indifference raised suspicions. Could he have been involved in some way? However, after further questioning, it was clear that Greg had not been near the house that night. His alibi checked out. His involvement was ruled out, but his coldness remained unsettling. With no signs of a break-in or forced entry, and Patricia still missing, the theories began to evolve. Was Patricia responsible for her children's deaths? Could she have drugged them? Or was there another, more sinister reason for the crime? One theory pointed to Patricia's financial difficulties. Perhaps the pressure of losing her home, coupled with the overwhelming responsibility of caring for 5 young children, had pushed her to commit an unthinkable act. But how had she done it? No traces of poison, no medications, nothing seemed to fit. Other theories revolved around Patricia's psychological state. Was she suffering from a mental breakdown? Was it a case of postpartum depression, despite the fact that Emily was already 3 years old? Then, there was a theory that Patricia had been manipulated or coerced into doing something by a third party. Could someone have controlled her, forced her to take the lives of her children? The theory seemed far-fetched, but as the investigation went on, the possibility lingered. 3 weeks into the investigation, a breakthrough came in the form of a tip. A local resident reported seeing Patricia's car abandoned by the side of a remote highway about 50 miles outside of town. A search team was dispatched, and Patricia was found in a nearby wooded area, unconscious but alive. When Patricia regained consciousness, she was taken into custody. The investigation revealed that Patricia had been planning her children's deaths for weeks. She had carefully orchestrated the event, ensuring that no one would be able to stop her. The handwritten notes were a final act of justification for her actions. Patricia was charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder. During the trial, the defense argued that Patricia was suffering from a severe mental health crisis, but the prosecution countered, presenting the meticulous planning and premeditation involved in the deaths. The jury found her guilty, and she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case of Patricia Blackwell is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can exist beneath the surface of even the most seemingly normal lives. How could a mother who loved her children commit such an unthinkable act? Was it truly mental illness, or was there something more sinister at play? What drove Patricia to make this heartbreaking decision? What do you think? Was Patricia solely responsible for the deaths of her children, or was she a victim of something much darker? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more true crime stories. Thank you very much for listening. See you in the other one.